Tommy, can you just take us through maybe Drew's inability to hit some of those shots and maybe how you guys go about correcting that in practice? Like, what's the process of like making sure plays like that are able to be converted?
I think for any player, we try to take emotion out of the play. We look at it in terms of like to physically execute a play. One, mentally you have to understand what we're doing and get your eyes into the right spot. And then there's going to be some sort of technique or fundamental base that's been instilled in you or been worked at or something that you've been working on to make those things happen. So when those errors occur and we try to avoid them as often as possible, we go back to saying, okay, well, is there something technically or fundamentally that is not allowing us to execute it? Or is it a mental lapse where our eyes aren't in the right spot? So again, we look at it very systematically that way. Again, I got to keep making sure that Drew is prepared in both of those. It starts with me. And I want to make sure that every opportunity he has to make a play, that I do everything in my power to allow him to go make that play.
Are there days that a guy could just be off throwing the football?
Yeah, there's always days where it doesn't feel as easy as others. And look, there's human error in everything we do, and that's part of it. But, again, I got to do a better job making sure Drew knows exactly what we're trying to do, and I got to do a better job making sure that fundamentally Drew's in the right spot heading into Saturday.
What does it mean? Coach Freeman mentioned that he has full trust in you to make the offensive call. What does it mean to have the faith of the head coach that you guys are making the right calls and just by not executing the rest of the field?
Yeah, again, Coach Free's been great all year, and the one thing that I think everybody in this program feels is a sense of togetherness, and that starts at the very top, and that's credit to him and the way he's built the culture and built the expectations. And look, we all care deeply about doing what's best for the program, for our staff, for our players, for everybody in touch. And so, look, it's all of us got to do our part. I certainly got to do mine and continue to make sure that we get our guys playing in the way they're capable of playing. It starts with us as coaches.
What does it mean to get Tobias out in the field and really see more of him moving forward?
Yeah, Tobias did a really nice job for us. Obviously, the one big play, we had another opportunity there. Look, we're going to continue to find ways to get guys in good spots, whether it's Tobias or Zoe or Braden or JT. Like, we got to find and maximize what our guys can do well and try to continue to help put them there.
Tommy, you talked about what needs to be done. How does it start? How do you implement that to get it going, to get everybody back on that page and getting momentum back?
You just get back to work. I think the best thing we do is we practice on Sundays, so it's a quick flush for our guys and we're able to move forward. There's no way through this except to keep marching forward and put one step in front of the other and continue to get back to work. Again, we try to take emotion out of it as much as we can and look at it from a very how do we execute it? Like, that's the only question. Like, how can we get that physical execution? Fundamentally, mentally, where's the lapse? How do we continue to make sure that everyone's on the same page and let's take everything else out of it and just get back to work? And tomorrow's going to come, so let's be ready for it.
Tommy, you mentioned wanting to take the emotion out of it, but when you're going back and watching the film, how frustrating must it have been to go back and say, all right, here's where we could have made this play, or here's one I could have called better, and things like that when it's a game that you guys probably thought you could have had?
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it after the fact. You got to correct it and make sure that your players and the staff know why we're correcting it and what our expectations are moving forward so that we don't allow those mistakes to happen another time. Yeah, it's frustrating. You're not gonna, we're all in this as competitors. We all put a lot of time and effort into it, and our players especially. So, I think the biggest thing as a staff, you don't ever want to feel like you're letting your guys down, and we just want more than anything for our guys to have success on Saturdays. And so, as a staff, we continue to push forward and make sure we try to give them that chance.
You guys have had really high offensive production and then low offensive production. How important is it to have some form of consistency in terms of being able to have a consistent level rather than highs and lows?
Yeah, like efficiency and consistency is about two things that I probably hold as high of regard as anything. And so that's what we're after every day. That's what we're attacking. We got a lot of guys that are working extremely hard to do their job, players and staff, and we just got to find a way to start faster, and I got to do a much better job of putting our guys in a position to have confidence going from the first play to 70th play. And that starts with me. It starts with what I call. It gives them a chance to get into the game, feel the rhythm, have some comfortability and moving forward. And again, put it on my shoulders to make sure that we put our guys in the spot to go out there and execute.
Coach, what was the difference in response to as far as the team in practice the day after the loss to Marshall versus the day after the loss to Stanford?
I think our guys right now are hungry. They're practicing hard. They're competitive. I thought today was a great Tuesday. I really did. And I think all of our guys were eager to continue to find a way through. And the moments we're on the field is probably the best part of their day because they don't have to pay attention to any of the noise. We're in here together and focused on our task at hand. And I was proud of our guys and how they come to work every day regardless of the outcome.
And what is the what challenges does UNLV present in this upcoming matchup?
Yeah, they two guys up front that'll probably play on Sundays. I think 16's a hell of a player. Nickel makes a ton of plays, good blitzer, good in coverage. I think they have 11 team interceptions, they're right around 11, so they're disruptive on the ball, they have good team speed. They present some challenges. They're well coached, they have answers for things that teams do well. They got good personnel. I think they have 40-something transfers on their roster, or maybe even more, and a lot of guys that have, come from big-time programs and have high expectations. So, I've been extremely impressed with where they're at and how they're playing right now, and our guys see that on film, and that helps make sure we're pushing towards the right direction.
Knowing those things, what does Notre Dame football do well that will give you guys an advantage against? Not specifically, but a particular point of view.
Yeah, we got to focus on ourselves right now. We have a ton of respect for them and how they're handling it, but if we can kind of focus on doing our job and handling our role, then that puts us in the right position.
Coach, after this game against UNLV, you have 2 straight games against undefeated opponents. Obviously, you don't want to look over a single opponent, but would you feel there's an added pressure to get yourself, and this team right before you have those 2 big games?
Yeah, I don't think there's any pressure that needs to be added right now. I think our guys are focused on today, focused on what we're doing right now. We're trying to take it one moment at a time. Make sure that we have the best meeting we can have, the best pre-practice we can have, and if we can stack those together, that puts us in a position to be prepared to go execute on Saturdays.
And you're now like a halfway point through the season. Would you say your view of the team and the offense has changed since the beginning of the season?
I think you evolve as the season goes on. I think you start to figure out things that you can hang your hat on, the things that when you call your players feel confident in and comfortable with. And I don't think my viewpoint changes on our guys. I think our viewpoint changes on what I can do to help them be successful. And that probably ebbs and flows week to week. And so we're going to continue to try to put our guys in the right spots.
I guess some of your biggest struggles, Tommy, against teams they were heavily favored against. Is there anything to that in terms of preparation or anything like that would lead to that happening?
Our process stays pretty consistent. Coach Freeman's done a great job of making sure that we focus on that. And I don't have the answer for that, man. I really don't.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks, Tommy.